Hey everyone, my name's Adam. Welcome to my channel where we discuss all things long COVID recovery. Today I have a special treat for you. I've had a vision in my head for the last few months to create a video where I go through all of my medications, all of my supplements, and a few of my alternative treatments basically that I have kicking around my house. And the idea here is I have bought a tub. To fit everything, and I'm calling it my long COVID care kit. It's got today's date on it. You can see it's a decent size here, so it barely fits everything that we're going to discuss today. But I guess it's time. So these supplements keep staring at me, and medications keep staring at me. They're in my kitchen cabinet with my glasses, and my wife said to me the other day, "It's time to move these things out of here." And you know what? She's right. And I've had it in the back of my mind that I want to get these things out of sight. Over the last month, I've been thinking about long COVID less and less, which is amazing. And you guys are going to get there too. But this is a step for me to take everything that I've used over the last 19 months and put it in this long COVID care box, because Lord knows you never know when you're going to need it again. And then go from there, and put these things away somewhere where they're out of sight, out of mind for now, and God hope that I never need it again. But they'll be there if someone needs them again in my family, or if I ever need them again. And there's things in here that I'm just using for reference that I'll probably still continue to take on a daily basis, like vitamin C and zinc and magnesium and probiotics and all sorts of stuff. But for reference, everything's in there from the closet, from the cupboard that I've pulled it out of today. So I've dedicated a couple hours to creating this video and editing today. So I hope this helps you guys. I think it's probably going to be my most comprehensive video yet. So let's get right into it. So I'm going to start with the box of supplements, and there's a couple of medical devices in here too. So let's start with those. So let me just show you the bin for reference. So it's decently sized. There's a bunch of stuff in here, so I'm not going to lift it over every time. So let's start with a few things. We've talked about some of this stuff before, but this is the micro combo TENS machine unit that I use for vagal nerve stimulation. We'll start right off with it because it's a huge help. Lots of others have started talking about this now, about the polyvagal theory and, stimulating your vagus nerve. But it was a huge help for my recovery and just calming that vagus nerve down. You can't just use this and expect that it'll work. We've talked about that in the comments of one of my videos before. You also have to be doing the hard work in terms of meditation and breath work and grounding and all sorts of other stuff. These are extra helpers. So you can't just buy this and expect it to work. You also got to be doing the other mitigations to increase your parasympathetic tone. So this was a little device. It comes with a ear clip and a back pad. So I would always put it on my left shoulder and my left ear, right on the, I think that's called the tragus, right in the middle there. So that's where I always use mine. Start low. There's settings, basically information on a group on Facebook, which I'll post in the comments. If you guys are more interested in that. So I use this thing every day for a year for at least 20 minutes, along with all my other relaxation techniques and vagal techniques, basically increase your parasympathetic nervous system. So that was one of them there. That's going to go in the box, and I'll probably still use it from time to time, once or twice a week, if I'm feeling stressed. Or, I always pair this with either breath work or grounding or meditation or all three. Sometimes I'll sit on a grounding mat and I'll do my breath work while I have, relaxing sounds on in the background. So some consider breath work meditation anyway. So doing that with the others is a great help. So put that to the side here. Another device here, blood pressure monitor. This thing, I'm ready to put it away. It's good to have in the house, but Jesus, my blood pressure for the last, for the first 6 months was all over the place. Constantly high, never low, but constantly high. When I was experimenting with all sorts of different supplements and sodium levels, potassium levels, magnesium levels, and stuff like that. So I'd be happy to put that one away for now. So that one's good to have for long COVID, just to anything to measure your vitals or how your body's doing is a great option. So I'm just gonna slide this a little closer. Temperature, basic thermometer. This is great for watching for reinfection. There was a period of time last year in June, July, where I constantly got sick and thought that I wasn't doing well. And I was just sick or I had allergies, but it was good to know. And when I did get COVID, my fever did break, so that was in December. This is my COVID times number 2. It was good to have all sorts of these. And I also have like a COVID care kit, sub-COVID care kit for like acute COVID. And we can discuss that in another video, but this is my long COVID care kit. Essential to have for watching for reinfection. If you're feeling like you're having symptoms, it's best to do a COVID test and check your temperature, check everything, and see what's going on. The sooner you know, the better. In December, I caught it so quick. The second time I got COVID, I caught it quickly and was able to get on Paxlovid and also ivermectin and squash it right away. I didn't feel normal for a couple weeks, but long COVID didn't come back or get worse, which is great. Another device here is the standard blood oxygen sensors. So a lot of you have respiratory issues, and that was one of my fears when I was having a lot of panic in the beginning because I do have asthma. So having one of these on hand to use to check your blood oxygen saturation is good. Do not become obsessive with this. If you're feeling like you're having trouble breathing, check this. I found myself becoming obsessed with it at the beginning, along with my other vitals, like a lot of you guys out there. So it's happy to go away for now. Put it in your long COVID care kit. This is sort of a device. So I've talked about this one a lot. Whatever the brand is, just some Amazon head pack. So it goes over your head. And today in Canada, we have a heat wave. So it is essential. I found myself getting a little bit of head heat, and it's one of my remaining symptoms is heat. Everything for me has been down the right side, whether it be pressure in the brain or heat, and that's the brain inflammation at work. This thing seems to like calm that down. So if you do have brain inflammation, brain pressure, yeah, like it was almost like worse than headaches. The brain pressure I had at the beginning. I wish I had known about this back then, because when I found out about it 6 months in, it started to help so much. And this one even will go over your eyes. So if you're having any sort of eye issues or you're feeling that heat in your face, this ice pack that I talk about is probably one of the best treatments for brain inflammation, heat, intolerance, things like that. Again, we're talking about cold exposure here, right? So probably about 6 months in, I started to do sauna and then cold showers. Huge help for inflammation in the body. Huge help. So again, put this in the freezer, give it an hour, and then get it on your head if you're having issues. Look at my hair. It's very humid here today. Put this back on. But that's a great option. It's on Amazon. I think it's like $20, $25 Canadian, so super cheap, and a great addition to your long COVID care kit. I think that's it for medical devices that we'll discuss. We'll get into the rest of the bin here. So there was a lot of talk back in the day, I mean 19 months ago, about sodium and potassium balance and keeping these things in balance. And there was a time also that I was fasting once a week for 24 to 72 hours. So these were crucial. So I discuss a lot about fasting. Tom Bunker's group on Facebook has so much information about this. These were two of the recommendations on supplementing for your fast. You have to still have sodium and potassium intake. And then also, if I can find it here, magnesium. This is not the best version. Citrate. I have another one upstairs that I use before bedtime that crosses the blood-brain barrier, and it's called Magnetin, and it's really, really good. It's a good option. But balancing these three is crucial. And sometimes when you change your diet or take a lot of supplements, it can mess with your electrolyte balance. So trying to get that back in check is a good priority for you in the beginning. For me, I don't take this stuff anymore. I lightly season my food with salt and I am off my crazy restrictive keto diet, so I don't need to supplement with a lot of stuff anymore because I'm getting potassium and magnesium for a lot more from a lot more foods like leafy greens and nuts, seeds, potatoes, bananas, and things like that. So, but these were definitely crucial. 3 electrolytes you need to keep in balance if you want your recovery to go smoothly. Okay. Probiotics too, they're really helpful. There was a lot of studies done on these. Tom Bunker also talks about these in autophagy, so the body breaking down old bad cells and creating new ones, and that's what happens when you're fasting. But there's also things that can do that for you if you're not strong enough to fast. This was one of those that was recommended, and it's LP299V probiotic supplement. So if I wasn't feeling strong enough for a fast, I would take just half a capsule of this, and I would feel the effects of autophagy. And this was another one I tried too. So this one was actually specifically developed or marketed by a doctor for long COVID sufferers. So I would take one of these a night. This is called Tumric. So you can find these. This one was on a US supplement site I got this from, and this was on also I think the doctor's website. There was links to it. Not too expensive, $30, probably about $40 US. These were a great help in the beginning as well. One of my functional doctors that I've had, one of the good ones here, local to me, recommended taking milk thistle. So this helps the liver. So my body has gone through so much trauma, I guess, and trouble in the past that it's ideal to detox the liver, and it helps all sorts of different things. So I take a little bit of this each day. It's a really good brand. I think this was about $45 as well. But yeah, if you have any liver issues or anything like that, I have a bit of a fatty liver, this is helpful for that. Natural formula for treatment of liver function. Again, I want to preface, none of this is medical advice. Do not take these supplements or medications that I've taken. I am sharing my journey, letting you guys know what I've taken. A lot of this is common knowledge on the long COVID forums and the Facebook groups now that are being discussed, but it's nice to be able to go through it here with you guys and show the brands, right? That's always a question. What are you taking? What have you tried? What works? What doesn't? Everything in here, I would say, it's hard to tell. It's hard to tell what works, but there's things in here that I have put away and that didn't work, and I'm not even bringing up with you guys. So we'll go through a few more here. Multivitamin. I took this in the beginning because I didn't know anything about what the hell was going on with me. So there's a lot in there still. So once I started to figure out what was going on with me, I started to tailor my vitamin intake more accordingly to what I had suspected was going on with me. So digestive enzymes, these were crucial when my system wasn't processing food properly. Like I had a slow moving stomach, slow moving bowels. So adding in probiotics like we just talked about, and these as well after a meal, were very helpful for that. Vitamin D3, this is essential. We talk about this in other videos, fighting inflammation. Now I get this from the sun, so I don't go out too much. That's dangerous for me, but I like to go out walking in bare feet on the grass, with short sleeves on, and get sun naturally. In the wintertime, I do supplement with this, though, as well, because we're in Canada. Some from the beginning. So what the hell is all this panic? What is this anxiety? Why am I having constant panic attacks? Let me try and group a couple together here. Went to the first few things that come up on the internet. So we got 5-HTP, took that a few times, gave me panic attacks. St. John's wort, it was okay. Ashwagandha, stress reliever. Anything that says stress reliever, I don't know. This one gave me a panic attack, so we scratched these. I'm including these 3 for anti-anxiety, antidepressant properties because they may work for some. I've kept them just in case. I've never tried them again because I found what works for me, and that was medication that I'm now off of, that we'll discuss a little bit later on in this video. Okay, this one, B complex 100. So be careful with this because you never know how much you need. It's best always to have your levels of everything checked before you start supplementing. So that again is a disclaimer in this video. Make sure you check everything, your blood levels, and check it every 3 months to make sure you're not taking too much of something. B, vitamin complex. I feel like this was a big help for me. I took this every day with vitamin C and zinc. So I have my zinc here. I was on 50 milligrams. My functional doctor took me down to 25 milligrams. So B100 complex and zinc, and then my vitamin C, which was 1,000 a day. So I still take this, the zinc, and the vitamin C once a day, and this I take a couple times a week. So not needed every day anymore, but was super helpful for brain fog, I believe, and energy levels and things like that. So they were very helpful daily. There was a few, that was my morning, so a lot of you probably have the same. You have a morning supplement stack, you have an afternoon supplement stack, and then you have an evening supplement stack. So for me, I took probiotics in the evening, and one thing that's not here because it's in my fridge is my omega-3s, the high dose of it. I still take that daily because it's super important for brain health and fighting inflammation. So keep that in mind. That's one you should be taking daily. I take these when I was sick or I had COVID. I don't know. I felt like it helped my throat. They were chewable vitamin C, so I took a couple of those a day. This is another one here. It was supposed to be a blood thinner. So Ginkgo was the name of the supplement. So I ended up taking baby aspirin as well. So I didn't take these together because with supplements it's hard to tell. Like, it's probably better for you than aspirin, but again, if you're looking for a natural route for thinning of the blood, in case you're worried about microclots, Ginkgo was good, and also says it helps cognitive function as well, so for brain fog. I don't even know if I should talk about this one because of some regulations and stuff in the US, but NAC, try and get that in focus there. This is the brand that I took. I took 2 of these a day. The dosage, let me see here, and it's been a while, so bear with me as I read this to you. 500 milligrams, so it's taking 1,000 milligrams a day of NAC, as it's called. It says it increases the level of the antioxidant glutathione. So again, it helps fight inflammation. It's really good for long COVID, and I've heard about it from so many other people on Reddit and Facebook. This one's a good one to take. If I have a flare, I go back to this one. This one, Tumric. So this was 500 milligrams. I was on 1,000 a day for about a year. This one's really good for inflammation, so it fights inflammation. For me, you guys know I had brain inflammation. I'm just going through some stuff right now when I'm looking at all this stuff, so I apologize. But yeah, this one I took this nightly with my omega-3 and my probiotic, and also this guy here, Quercetin. So this is also another antioxidant, basically capillary and blood vessel protection. I mean, it's great for long COVID as well. So I was taking 1 of these a day at 500 milligrams. So that was my nighttime stack. But yeah, sorry, I have to take just a break for a second here. I'm looking at, I don't know, 30 bottles over here on my desk, and I'm just struggling. Like, this is crazy to even look back and think about how much this took my life over. Looking at these, I haven't looked at these in a couple of months now, and like looking at them piled up is insane. It's emotional almost to think about what I've gone through over the last year and a half. And I know you guys are struggling too, so that's why I keep making these videos. So sometimes it's hard for me to go through all this stuff and to look back when I'm trying to look forward, but it's important for me to fight through this trauma, I guess. We have to live our trauma and get it out to ideally move on from this, right? I can't just put these pills in the closet, put these supplements in the closet and forget about it. We have to talk about it. You know, I have to talk about why I took these things and just put this to bed mentally and actually live this trauma. So thank you for going through that with me. I appreciate it. We'll move on here. Taurine. So this was a supplement. It's actually in a pre-workout, so athletes use this too, but it's for the maintenance of a healthy heart function, but it's also, I've read studies, great for your brain. So I felt that this one helped my brain fog. And Now Supplements is a Canadian company, but they have really good price supplements. And if you're looking for something kind of strange that you might not be able to find, Now might have that for you. Obviously, you guys saw, like, I used a lot of the Weber Naturals as well. And then Organica brands. So those are the supplement brands that I used. Doesn't mean that they're the best. It just might have been affordable for me at the time with my income and some things like that. So here's another one. Huberman talks about this one. It's a great stress reliever, L-Theanine. So I still take this one. I'm going to keep this one out. And it's the Organica brand again. There's about 110 capsules in this bottle. It wasn't expensive, maybe $20, but it's 225 milligrams. So if I'm stressed or something's bad going on at work or at home, I'll take one of these instead of reaching for my Ativan. And it's almost like a natural stress reliever. So that's a good one to look out for as well. CBD. So this one in Canada, another disclaimer, marijuana is legal in Canada. This doesn't contain any THC, which is the properties that make you quote unquote high. This is just CBD. So I use this a lot. There's a lot of people who said CBD have helped them with brain fog, anxiety, depression, and things like that. So I would take one of these right before bed. 25 milligrams was the unit. I also have 50 milligrams upstairs that I still use. It helped with insomnia, stress reduction, and things like that. So those are capsules. I also had the oil as well. So those were a good addition to the long COVID care kit. I need to go through that. You guys know that I used a lot of aromatherapy and natural oils and things like that. This is a pure eucalyptus oil. So last year at this time, like, I had really bad allergies and colds and things like that. My immune system wouldn't clear anything. So this was a huge relief to me because my congestion was just full all the time. And there's all sorts of stuff from this company, Sage. My favorites are the Peppermint Halo for brain pressure and a headache, and then a stress reliever. It's called Stress Reducer. You put it on your palms and stuff when you're having anxiety, panic, or those feelings of doom, and just let that kind of work in. And as you're working or at home, you use that as aromatherapy. Couple left in here. There's two at the end that we'll talk about that I don't know if they're supplements or medication, honestly, but this was recommended to me by my friend in the US who deals with all sorts of different stuff. L-Lysine. So it says helps reduce treatment of herpes simplex virus, but this is great for any viruses. So cold sores or spike protein, I guess. But I was taking one of these a day, and I still do take these. Not all the time, but they're definitely great if you have the viral persistence theory in the back of your brain. If you do get a flare-up, get on these right away. So if I do have a flare, I'm back to these ones. These ones are probably going to stay out as well. They're piling up over here. I have to move some things around. They're protruding out. They're going to fall off. Two of these guys, again, these are Microdose capsules. They're called Clarity capsules from a company called Microgenics in BC, and they are for mental health. Basically, they include a microdose of psilocybin, lion's mane, reishi mushrooms, and ginger root. So these were great. They didn't make me really feel anything, which is what they're supposed to do. They don't give you a high or anything like that or a trip. They are meant to kind of level you out, and you take one every 3 days. and it definitely helps with mental health. So if you're struggling to find anything that works for you in the pharmaceutical industry, like SSRIs or Wellbutrin, benzos, reach for something natural and look at clarity capsules. They might help you. And then they brought out another one, which was a support capsule. Basically, you take these on the days that you don't take the other ones. It's hard to see here with the light, but and that just includes, it reduces stress and boosts your immunity. Includes reishi mushrooms, lion's mane, turkey tail, and a couple of other mushrooms there as well. So it's great for cognitive function, brain fog, and things like that. So come in a capsule form for both of those, and I do take those on a daily basis. Those are great. So that's it for the supplements, and the bin really only held the supplements. The medications are going to fit in on the top now. So let's go through the medications. This one here, this is DMSO. And it's a liquid. It's a very strange liquid. One of the first books I read on long COVID was called What the Hell is Long COVID by a lawyer in the US, talking about this virus and how we need to treat it like a bioweapon. And this is one of the things that he recommended. One of the first things I started trying. It's weird. You put a couple of drops on your wrist and it almost soaks into your skin, and you can taste like a garlicky taste from that. I don't even know if you can get it in the US, but it's something you can look into. It's produced from the pulp and paper industry. So it's a natural, I believe, a natural compound. I don't want to talk too much about it because I don't know the regulations around it, but look into it. DMSO, it's produced from trees, like it's a byproduct of the pulp and paper process. So again, you want to learn more about it. I'm not going to discuss it here. The book is called What the Hell is Long COVID? And you can get the Kindle version on Amazon for like $10 or something like that. It's one of the first mitigations. This and sauna were two of the things that he said for fighting inflammation. Okay, let's get into some medications now. Let's start with, and some of these overlap into the acute COVID treatment. We have low-dose naltrexone here. So we have it in two forms. Now, because you're supposed to start really small on this, so 0.5 and then a milligram and then 2 and then 3. So this one was my first one, 1 milligram, and this one is 4.5 milligrams. So when I had really bad inflammation, and this is talked about a lot more now than it was before when I first got these are through a compound pharmacy. So they take naltrexone and they reduce the potency of it and they put it in capsule form, and this is great for fighting inflammation and all sorts of different chronic illnesses. In this bag we have hydrochloroquine and ivermectin. So these are for fighting the virus when you have an acute version of COVID. This one over here is ivermectin, which came through my long COVID clinic doctor and was prescribed to me. All these medications were prescribed to me. I didn't purchase anything off label or off the internet. And this one was 18 milligrams a day for 3 weeks. Sometimes I'll take this if I feel a virus coming on or a flare-up, and it definitely helps. We're not going to talk too much about that because Lord knows we don't need the video flagged or anything like that. So definitely look into that. What's next here? Let's go with anti-depression, anti-anxiety medications that I no longer need and did not need before COVID hit me. I'm going to line them up here. Give me 1 second. Well, yeah, exactly. That's mostly what these are. So let's start with a few. So let's start with the ones that didn't work, and I haven't really talked about much in my other videos. Zoloft, 25 milligrams, yellow tab. Didn't work. SSRIs for me, I really struggle with, and they almost cause more panic for me. So back in the day, one of my symptoms was this impending doom feeling that a lot of you are struggling with, and the sense of dread and constant panic and not feeling connected to others. So immediately, like, the first thing I thought was it was depression, anxiety. I didn't know I had long COVID. So I went to the doctor, and, like, this is the stuff they gave me. Like, looking at the dates on these, well over a year ago. The other one was Cipralex, so another SSRI at a low dose of 10 milligrams. So put those in the bin now and move along from those because they didn't work. I don't know why I saved half this stuff. Maybe I thought I might need it someday, but luckily that day is not today. So there's another couple here. This one is Diazapam. So this is a benzodiazepine, a long-acting or a medium-acting, some would say. This was 5 milligrams, so very low dosage. I tried these out and they didn't work. I had Ativan in the past, so the Ativan is here, and I had a 1 milligram prescription before long COVID for anxiety, and I came to the realization that I think they were helping in the beginning, and we've talked about that before, to reduce the panic, and I think they also help with inflammation. For me, a big problem during my long COVID journey was the GABA and glutamate balance in my brain. So at least reading and talking to others on Reddit and the groups that have had the other issues, like the same issues as me, this is a theory from Reddit, that the GABA and glutamate receptors are screwed up, and there's way too much glutamate in the brain, and the GABA won't control anything. So this is why actually alcohol in the beginning, when I went out one night and we had some drinks and stuff, I felt a little bit better. So it was like, why would I feel better? I obviously didn't feel better the next day, but it made my symptoms kind of reduce the panic and the dread, impending doom, and all sorts of other stuff. So that's what led me to Ativan with daily dose of 0.5 milligrams. I took that for about 8 months, and then I used the Ashton method to taper off because I knew that there could be side effects to that, right, and withdrawal effects from that. But definitely look into that. Another warning here, benzodiazepines are extremely addictive, but again, with the situation you might be in, the situation I was in was life and death back then. So I tried anything, and they were helpful, and being able to be off them since October has been wonderful. The other thing here is I have a couple of different forms of Wellbutrin, and we've talked about this one in the past for me for the depression. So SSRIs didn't work for me. Wellbutrin acts on the dopamine receptors and the reuptake of dopamine. So it leaves more dopamine, I guess, where it needs to be. And I'm not a doctor, so I'm not going to get into any sort of specifics about that. You can research that yourself or speak to your family doctor or your specialist. I had the SR version, which is the quicker version to act, and then I had the XL, which lasts a lot longer. So I had 150, and then I had 300 milligrams. And in the first 6 months, they helped. I had no energy, I had fatigue, I had brain fog, and I think when I started taking the 150 milligram version of the Wellbutrin, it helped a lot. And then I moved up to the 300, and then again, probably 10 months in, when I started getting off the Ativan, I also was getting off these medications as well. So I got off these before the benzos because getting off two things at once can be an issue. But Wellbutrin and Ativan, two of the biggest helpers in my long COVID care kit, and I'm happy to put them away, which is great. Fluvoxamine, we've talked about this one in the past. This is a SSRI, but I wasn't taking it at doses where I was having side effects, or it just didn't cause any side effects for me, like the Zoloft and the Cipralex. This one is used for the treatment of mental health issues, anxiety, depression, but for me, there was a study going on here where they were trialing this for long COVID for reducing brain inflammation. So for me, this is a 50 milligram. I was taking 25 a day for a week, and then I bumped it to 50. Some others bumped it to more. It's actually also a treatment for acute COVID. So when I had acute COVID, I was also taking this as well as all sorts of other things. But we'll make another video about that at a later date. So these are everything, and I don't think I missed anything here. There's a few others left. Wellbutrin XL, a big bottle of the 150s. There is amoxicillin for my cold that I had, or my allergy attack back in June, July of last year that I never took because I didn't want to destroy my my gut further. So we have those. And Naproxen, which is an NS, I forget, but it's an anti-inflammatory medication, 375 milligrams. I would use that for inflammation or pain or things like that. Never really solved my head pressure or anything. That's why I've left those two till the end. Nasal spray. This is for when I had COVID. It's a Vicks Defense spray, so it's a cold and flu virus blocker. So I would take this along with nasal washes when I was feeling attacks of feeling sick, or the virus came back, or any viral persistence. So I used that as well. And the last thing here should have been considered medical devices, I guess, is a pill cutter. So you'll see there's a couple of fluvoxamines left in there, so I'd have to split my fluvoxamines and some other medications to reduce the dosage, because I'm super sensitive to medications. So I'd always start low, and it's best to get one of these at your local pharmacy if you do have to split medications. But yeah, guys, that's it. So it's quite a long video. I'll make chapters for you so that you can skip to the parts that you need to see, or medications that you might be interested in. Again, a little emotional for me here to sit and look at all these things that have consumed my life for the last 19 months. But God, it's going to be fun to put the lid on this box. I'm going to put the lid on this guy, Long COVID Care Kit, June 26, 2023. Praying to God that I don't ever need it again. But we have to always prepare for the worst, so we'll put it on the shelf. We're not going to throw everything out. Anyways, you guys, if you have any questions or comments, I'm sure there could be some about any of the supplements or medications that I've discussed in this video, please put them in the comments section, and I will get back to you. I do read and respond to every single comment that you guys make. Also, final disclaimer, since we do discuss all sorts of different supplements and medications, none of this is medical advice. Please speak to your doctor personally about anything that you're dealing with, and any questions you may have about the medications and supplements that I discussed in this video. I hope you guys are having a great summer. Take care.